Hello stitchy friends, it's Chari. Welcome back to my channel and another FLOSSTUBE video. So today's is FLOSSTUBE number 20. It's been a whole year since I started FLOSSTUBE videos. I did my first one last January and I shared all the things that I completed stitching in 2023. So today I want to continue with that and share all the things that I finished stitching in 2024. So if I put the last stitch in 2024, that's what I'm going to share today. Some of them were started way before. Some of them I started and finished quickly. Some of them are fully finished. Some of them are not. There's a lot to share today. But I did want to start out with like the normal stuff. I do have a little bit of haul. I do have some new starts that I started in the new year. One is a whip. Some are fully finished or not fully finished. Actually, yes. One is fully finished. One I just finished stitching last night. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. It'll be a little bit longer video. Something I don't always mention is timestamps. I do put timestamps on my videos, and I'm especially going to do that this time, and part of the reason I'm mentioning it is because I've divided my projects up into kind of sections. So like spring, summer, fall, winter. Well, I don't really have winter, but also Valentine's, patriotic, Halloween, and Christmas. So each of those has a timestamp and a section. I am going to list all the charts in the description. YouTube does limit how much I can put, so if it is more than YouTube will let me, it will be continued in the first comment, and I'll write that and I'll pin the comment. And I have links for everything I can find a link for. You're going to see a lot of hands-on design. If you're new here, I love all of Kathy's designs. And I did put some links to a couple other YouTube channels down there. Nicole Spohr, because she's always inspiring and does inspire some of the things that I do. She also has a Facebook group. I believe I put that link down there too, because it's a great place to share things and see things and ask questions. Chantelle, because that is a lot of my finishing pieces. Stacy, which is my sister, who we do floss tubes together sometimes. If you're new here and you may not know that, you can go check her out. She's done quite a few lately on her own. She is doing a really fun stitch along idea for 2025, which is called a whip work day. So if you want to know more about that, you can go check that out over on her channel. I think that's it. So let's jump into haul and all the new starts, and then we'll go right into all the stitches from 2024. Okay, let's start with a little bit of haul. I do have some new things that I picked up and I got recently. So I have the Be In My Bonnet stitch cards by Lori Holt, set S. I think this would be cute little pillows in my winter dough bowl, which I am working on and doesn't have a lot in it yet, but it is a work in progress. I also picked up Christmas Folk from the Jingle ball, and as you can see, I already have this one kitted up and ready to go when I'm ready to start. I probably won't start this one right away. You're going to see when I look at new starts that I started Winter Folk, so that's what I'm focusing on right now. From Primrose Cottage, I picked up a few Valentine charts. I do want to make this into a little tree, a little pillow, and then for this one, I think I might change the colors and make it a little less Valentine-y. I think this would be a great everyday stitch in a dough bowl or a display. So I picked up those, and I also picked up a little Lori Holt charm, which I think is really cute. There are some new ones coming out that aren't in stock yet that are really cute. And then I also picked up another one of the Shepherd's Bush little kits to stitch on the little zipper bag. And this one says Grateful Heart, which I think is very sweet. So I picked that up as well. And that is all. No, it's not all the haul. This is also from the Jingle Ball. Now this is a PDF, so I printed it. I'm not going to flip through it, but this is something new for me. So the pattern was a PDF but I got the kit to stitch these with. So this is the kind of the counted canvas, the DMC pearl cotton to stitch the Christmas stars, and then also the little stretcher bars to hold the canvas. So I'm excited to do this because it's something new for me. Kathy had a class with the counted canvas for the Jingle Ball. I did not take the class, but this one was available in her booth to purchase, and I really liked these colors better. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying something new this year with the counted canvas. All right, so this is kind of new starts. These are all new starts for 2025. I started this one on New Year's Day, and I'm working right along on that. I want to get this one finished hopefully in the month of January. We'll see. I'm kind of working my way, breaking it up in sections, but I want to stitch on some other things at the same time. So I have not quite, I've put this one away for a couple days. This is, of course, Winter Folk. This is the last in the folk series that I need to stitch. I am stitching it with all the called for DMC. This is 32 count Driftwood Lugana, and as I've talked about before with the other folks that I have stitched, this is kind of a small tight weave, and I am actually doing one strand over two, even though it is 32. But I think it is turning out pretty well, and I actually like the kind of delicate look that you get with the one strand. Now, like the pine needles, they're two because I wanted them to be nice and chunky, but everything else is one. So that is Winter Folk by Hands On Design. Then I have some finishes. This is Let It Snow, also by Hands On Design. This was a little kit that you could purchase at the Jingle Ball. It came with everything except the linen and the threads. It's a finishing kit, I guess I should say, not a full kit. But I stitched this up. This is on 32 count dirty linen, which is what is called for. I did mostly the called for colors, the dark teal color. I didn't have the exact one that was called for, but I had one that I felt matched the fabric maybe even better, so that is what I used, and I think it is so cute. Now there was a little pom-pom that you put on the bow or the knot, and I thought it was a little too big and covered up some stuff, so I did this tiny little snowflake button. But you sew the two pieces together, and then you put the word snow, which is stitched on the perforated paper, which I think is very cool, and then lace that to the mat board circle, which actually came in the finishing kit, and then you do the same for the back piece and stitch them together. And I made this into a flat little round. I did not make it an ornament, but you could, and I have this sitting in my little dough bowl. Now this kind of goes with what I'm about to show you next, which is the Snowman Kisses by Primrose Cottage stitches. This little chart has been passed around in my little friend group, and I am the last one to stitch it. But I wanted it to match the colors in this because this is what my first thing in my dough bowl, my winter dough bowl. So I switched up the colors for this, and let's see, here are the colors I used. So the 3865 is the white, obviously. Then instead of using a blue, a red, and a white for my letters, I used a dark teal, a medium teal, and a light teal to do all my letters. And I also used it for the scarf. You can see it's red here. I wanted to kind of keep it mostly teal with the tiny little pop of red, or in my case, pink. So 3832 is my pink for the heart, and just those tiny little berries on their hats. Then I pulled out 2 shades of green for my trees, and also there's a couple stitches to make the leaves for the berries on their hats. This is the exact same color that was used for the nose and the orange on Let It Snow. And then I pulled out a brownish gray for their hats and the trunks of the trees. So the two teals I used in here are used here, and I pulled a darker one. I used the same white. I used the same orange. I did not use the brown. I decided to go with something darker because they had the trunks of the tree and the hats that same color. I was going to do this brown and the hats this, but I just decided to keep it simple and do them all the same. So that is Snowman Kisses by Primrose Cottage. And I already have some fabrics pulled that I do have this exact fabric, but I didn't want it to match exactly. But I do have a few that match it very well. And I'll probably make this into little pillows so they can kind of sit here like this. And this is stitched on 32 count raw linen. My other new start and then finish, and I did not iron this one, was an exclusive chart from Kathy that was available through the, I do not remember the exact name of the Facebook group. It's like Needlework Stitchers or something like that. Anyway, it was a whole kit, a finishing kit, linen, threads, everything. So I need to finish this up. But this was kind of a self-paced stitch along. Kathy had suggestions in the pattern for the Christmastide season, which starts on Christmas Day. So I started this on Christmas Day with day 1, which was the first 2 stars. And she had it broken down into 12 days. And so that is what I tried to do. I stayed on schedule pretty well. I think I was like a day off at one point and had to play catch up. But this is the Christmastide sampler. I do still need to stitch the cute little ornament because all the finishing pieces for the ornament were also in the kit. So here are the colors. They're Weeks Dye Works. And this is, I don't remember. Yeah, it was 16 count chalkboard black or 32 count charcoal linen, which is what I stitched on, was the charcoal linen. That is what I picked for mine. And it also came with this cute little zip it from Lady Dad Creates. So that is the Christmastide sampler. So these are all the things that I have started and finished in 2025. But now I'm going to share all the things that I finished my stitching on in 2024. Alright, so I've broken this up into kind of sections, so I'm going to do my sort of everyday stitches first. I am going to have to insert some pictures of some things that I stitched and finished and gave away. The first ones I wanted to share were the Sheep Virtues that I finished up. Now I still have 3 to stitch, and that's a 2025 goal, is to stitch those 3. But I did finish Simplicity, I finished Patience, I finished Wisdom, and I finished Friendship. And these are stitched on a 14 count Aida. I did cut all my squares for all my sheep when I first started, so I will finish my last 3 on the same fabric. I do have all the buttons. I want to finish them all and then fully finish them onto a board that I can change out monthly with some magnets. That's sort of my plan. I have a lot of things that I stitched in 24 that I want to be able to change out. I don't have a lot of wall space in my house. So ones that I can change out sort of seasonally, I love that idea. And I want to create kind of a gallery wall around a wooden carved piece that my great-grandfather carved, and it came off of the house that my grandmother grew up in, and it is a giant arrow. It hangs on the wall in our dining room, but I think it would be really lovely to have some stitched pieces around it. So I need to finish the last 3. That is a goal, and hopefully I can get that taken care of. The other everyday sort of thing that I finished, or this could be spring, I guess, was this little Biscornu stack This is from the Between Friends Spring Sampling book by Hands On Design and Summer House Stitchworks. And I did mine in Lugana. This was a really fun challenge, especially making this little teeny tiny biscornu. I just think he is adorable. Now, I have kind of switched to linen, and if I did this again, I would do these in linen. But these are, I think, charcoal and I want to say mushroom Lugana. But these were really fun. This is what inspired me, and you'll see when I show you the summer basket biscornus to do the two-tone. I think that was a really fun look. One of the other stitches I finished was the exclusive Sorry Can't, and I gave it to my sister for Christmas, so I'm going to have to put a picture over here. This is the little extra special chart that came with it. So we have the Sorry Can't stitching by, and I gave that to my sister for Christmas. Now, I changed the colors on mine, and this is an exclusive chart with Chantelle's 141 Design Company. I don't know if it is available to purchase yet if you didn't pre-order the kit. But I stitched both of those and the little extra quilt square piece, and this is Hands On Design. The other thing I finished, I'm going to have to put a picture here, is Welcome by Hands On Design. And this is a fun design with the whale. And I stitched this and sent this to my friend that lives on Cape Cod because she bought a new house, and I thought that this would be the perfect housewarming gift for her. So that's Welcome by Hands On Design. Moving on to some Valentine stitches. I finished this one last year. This is a free chart from Kathy at Hands On Design. They're her anniversary tokens. She has one every year. There are quite a few. I finished this one, and I just need to fully finish it. And I don't know where my chart is right now. I feel like this was finished in a round, which I'll probably do the same because I'm really liking the round finishes. I took this piece of fabric because it's pretty large, and this is all that's stitched on it, and put it in a project bag with some other things to be stitched on red. That is why I don't know where my chart is, because it's not in that project bag. The other Valentine finishes I have to share. I've fully finished these all into little pillows. So this is the Valentine Day Quaker by Primrose Cottage. I did use the called for floss, but I changed up my fabric, which I don't remember off the top of my head, but I will put that on the screen, to an aqua color. I want to say it's Juniper Lugana, but I don't remember 100%. I will look it up and find out the answer. I also stitched Hugs and Kisses and I Love You by Cherry Hill Stitchery. I stitched these very different from the chart. The chart is charted on black, and so I use the Pink Splash Lugana. You can see the little splatters, and picked my own colors and finished these into two little pillows. There is a third chart, I think says February 14th, but I like these two the best. I really love this one. So that is Hugs and Kisses and I Love You by Cherry Hill Stitchery. This one is another one of Kathy's anniversary tokens. I stitched this on a 32 count charcoal Lugana and finished it into a tiny little pillow. I think it turned out super cute. I'm pretty sure that I just picked whatever colors for this as well. Let's see. And then this one was a free Lizzie Kate chart. It says Be My Valentine. And I did this on probably a mushroom Lugana. Again, I'm going to put all those details on the screen because I do not remember. And finished it into a little pillow as well. And all these sit in my dough bowl with a couple of little quilted hearts that I made. I did make some of these that go on like a spool with a wooden dowel and stand up on my dining room table. And these were kind of the leftovers. I didn't even close up the end of this one. It's not even stitched all the way around, but these are great little bowl fillers as well. And I also stitched a couple little pasta design hearts. I need to make some more of these. I really want to make like a wreath with these this year, but I made these little teeny tiny ones, and they hang on like a little birch tree with lights. So those are all my Valentine stitches from last year, and I really like the way they all turned out. So I'm excited to add some of the Primrose charts that I bought to this collection. All right, spring stitches. The first I stitched in the folk series from Hands On Design was the Spring Folk. And of course this is a little bigger than my screen here. This is on that 32 count driftwood Lugana. I did end up stitching a lot with one strand. Like I said before, it is very tight. Now the letters in this one is actually 2 strands. You can kind of see how they're chunkier. And all of these have those specialty stitches with the pearl cotton. So that is Spring Folk by Hands On Design. Another Hands On Design finish I did this year, I did as a birthday stitch along, and lots of you joined me, which was super fun. And this is the Botanical Bee. And both of these pieces are finished on finishing pieces from Chantelle's 141 Design Company. This is the Folk Paddle. It was designed specifically for these designs, and I have all of mine on magnets, so I can just pop them on and off. And then the Botanical Bee is the basic round, and I actually don't have mine glued so that I can kind of disassemble it and pack it away, and then it stands up nicely just like that. It doesn't really need to be glued. This is stitched on Juniper Lugana by Fabrics by Stephanie. I did pull my own color and cotton colors for this, and I do have the colors listed on some of those other floss tubes. So if you just want to go back and take a look at that, when I pull my own colors, I really do try to share. This was my first time making cording. I think it turned out really fun. Thank you so much to Nicole for teaching us how to do that when we went to the lake. That was a lot of fun. And I just painted this. The back is not crackle, but you can see that I used crackle finish on the front. Another one I have sort of halfway finished is Clover and Hive. I already have it mounted on a piece of mat board, and I have a piece to finish it on. It's just a little taller than this, and so I'm trying to figure out what I want to do at the top. I kind of think I want to do some like felt flowers of some kind, but that's the only reason this is not on a board yet. This is also Hands On Design. I don't remember off the top of my head the name of the fabric, but of course I'll put that along the bottom of the screen. And I did use all the called for colors on this one. Let me move those out of the way. Another, what I'm considering a spring finish, is Honey of a Tiny Town. This is on color and cotton linen. This is cottage stone, I believe. I really love this color. These are the called for floss colors. I have not finished this yet because I want to finish it into a drum, and I'm waiting for Nicole to do a tutorial to show me how, actually. So yeah, so that's why this isn't completely finished yet, but I love the way it turned out. It is really, really cute. So that's Honey of a Tiny Town. And then I also have Gather Wildflowers, which is a trio. I do have the finishing pieces for these. I'm waiting to get them all stitched, and then I'll finish it. And I've only stitched 2 of the 4 in this series. So Gather Wildflowers, this is a 32 count platinum Lugana. I've kind of switched from Luganas to linens this past year, but since I started this project on Lugana, I'm going to finish it on Lugana. Same for the folk series. This one actually has Gather Pumpkins on the back, which I'll show you here in just a little bit when I do fall stitches. All right, moving on to summer. I'm going to do Patriotic kind of separately. So this is the Summer Folk. Again, this is on that 32 count driftwood Lugana with that sort of tight weave. So I continued on with my 1 strand over 2. It has those fun specialty stitches in it. And this is on that same paddle. Again, it's just held on by magnets. This one I actually did get to my little decoration at the top. It is these little felt flowers, and I just sewed them on, or glued them on actually, to just a jute twine that I can tie around and then untie when I change seasons. I do need to do this to all the other seasons. This is the only one that has that little decoration right now, but I just had it sort of tied around loosely so that this could be packed away. So that is the Summer Folk. I also did, these are the Biscornus. Now this is where I decided to challenge myself and learn how to stitch on some higher counts. Now this was a stitch along with Nicole Spohr. She took the summer basket, or any of the seasons, I did summer, which are pillows with hands-on design, but we made them into Biscornus. My challenge to myself was to, they're all exactly the same size stitch wise, but I stitched them on 3 different counts to try to make a stack, sort of like the spring stack. Now granted, this is not as teeny tiny as that little one, but that's because they're all the same size, and the only thing that changes is their fabric count. So this is on 40, this is on 36, and this is on 32. And I did stitch 1 strand, obviously because these are higher counts, and I wanted this one to match and not look chunky. So 1 strand over 2 on all 3 of those. And then I challenged myself even more, and we dyed the fabric for the bottom so that we have that really fun 2-tone. And all I did was kind of chart myself a tiny little star to go in each corner, and then I didn't worry about stitching anything on the bottom because you don't see it. Now these aren't as graduated as the other stack, but I still think they look really cute. Actually, when I displayed them, I displayed the smallest and the largest together like this, and then I had my other one kind of off to the side. So that is the way I displayed them. But I'm really excited with the way these turned out. I do have the other seasons. I needed a Biscornu break, so I never went back to them. But maybe this year, that could be a goal for this year. So that is the Summer Basket triple play pillows, but made into Biscornus in different fabric counts. I think these are the call for colors. I may have changed out one. I don't remember. I know I've talked about this in a previous floss tube. So, but I just think they turned out so fun, and I do want to try the other ones. I might not do exactly the same thing, but I do want to make them into Biscornus. The other summer finish I have is Midnight Garden, and this was a class by Kathy at Hands On Design. There's a lot of Hands On Design. If you're new here, I love hands-on design. This was a class. I went to South Dakota. I took this class with my friends. Me and my husband made a whole vacation out of it. We traveled across South Dakota seeing all the sites, and we ended up where I took the class, and then we went home. So we made this cute little box. We did do our stitching ahead of time. And this little tomato, and there's a magnet in there, so the little tomato will stay in the box. And I just think it is so adorable. I love this project. Now you can't buy this chart because it is exclusive to the class, but maybe Kathy will release it in the future. We just have to wait and see. But I really loved the color scheme, and I really love how it turned out. Now the last little summer stitch I'm going to share is, thank you. The last summer stitch I'm going to share is Seaside Tiny Town. This I picked all my own Color and Cotton colors for. It is on some unknown color of Color and Cotton Lugana. I picked all the colors and picked out the fabric when we went to Coloring Cotton. Not in 2024, it was in 2023. So that's when I started this. It's not finished yet because I have a long skinny paddle to put it on, but it's a bit longer than my stitch, and I was going to add something here. I think I've decided I don't want to do that, and I'm just going to figure out something else to kind of fill that space on the paddle. So that's why it's kind of in limbo and has not been finished. All right, moving on to Patriotic, which is still kind of summer, but I like to give it its own category. I finished Souvenirs of the Heart by With Thy Needle and Thread. I did make some changes to it. Now, this is stitched 1/1. That is the called for. I did not do that. It's 1/1 on 28 count mushroom Lagana. This is a 40 count linen, and I did 1/2. But it's still cute and tiny and petite, and I love it. Now, I did make changes to the house, as you can see. The architect in me needed some different proportions. So I gave it some eaves, the roof on that side. I changed the windows to add a door, and I also shrunk down the quilt block a little bit so it's a little smaller and changed the colors up a little bit. But I just think this is cute. Oh, and I didn't do the bottom or the side. I just kind of wanted the house. So I need to make this into a little pillow. This is on another piece where I've started something. So that's why it's kind of still attached. So that one needs to be finished. That's the only one I didn't fully finish. This one is Miss Liberty by Teresa Kogut. I stitched this on, I think it's 32. Maybe it has to be because it's 2 strands. One more reproduction is the linen. And I bought this frame at Hobby Lobby. I did kind of rough it up a little more, but it kind of came with the distressing. But she was so cute. She came from the, it was a magazine. Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, maybe? Anyway, I loved her so much. I bought that copy of that magazine and stitched her up. And I changed out, I want to say I changed out the red because the called for red was kind of a more orangey red, and I like a red, a true red. But other than that, I really love the way she turned out. I just think she's so cute. She has a companion piece, but I don't know that I'm going to stitch him. I like her just as she is. The other one I finished was Liberty Pennies. This is Hands-on Design, another one of those rounds. It's finished on the basic round from Chantelle's 141. This one I did do a finishing tutorial, so there is a video for that. It's not the crackle finish, but I did a lot of fun techniques with some inks and stuff and distressing. This is stitched on Coloring Cotton 32 count denim bold, I believe, and I picked my own Coloring Cotton colors for this one. So that is available on my YouTube channel on one of those floss tubes where I talked about it. I'm pretty sure I shared all of those colors. I laid them out on the screen for you to see. So that is Liberty Pennies. And then my other Patriotic finishes, these were a trio of patterns from Cherry Hill Stitchery. So we have Old Glory, Stars and Stripes, and Let Freedom Ring. And I stitched those on that same denim and used some of the same colors. Obviously, I had to find a yellow for the yellow parts to these. And then I made them into little pillows for a double. And I just think they turned out really cute. All right, moving on to fall. I'll just start with this one. This is Gather at the Table by Hands on Design, another one of those round finishes. Instead of finishing this on the basic round, I actually found the plate that is very similar to the one Kathy used in her cover photo. I found this on Chari. I do not know where you can find one, but I used a magnet to stick it to a metal plate, which was super easy, and then I can change it out if I want to put something else on this plate. But I just love how this one turned out. Now, if you've watched my floss tube, you know this one was a journey. I started it like 3 times before I finally settled on a fabric. It is the called for colors, but it was a labor of love, but I do love how it turned out. And then, of course, we have the Autumn Folk, which I finished up in autumn, again on that folk paddle by Chantelle's 141 Design Company. And this one I did change up the bottom a little bit. Here she has a place for you to put your initials, and I didn't really want to do that because I wanted it to kind of match the series. So I just took one of these little birds and made my own little branch for him to sit on where your initials go. So again, this is all the called for colors on that 32 count driftwood Lugana. I did do the 1/2 because of the weave, and it has those specialty stitches, which these are really fun. I saved mine to the end, and they're just kind of really fun to learn something new. So once I get Winter Folk done, I'll have all of the seasons done and ready to go. Here's 2 more fall finishes I have here. This is I Love Fall Most of All. This one was also a labor of love in figuring out colors, because I did not use called for colors. I pulled my own colors, and I was on the struggle bus a little bit. I also got off on a count, but I like stitched the teal letters a couple times before I settled on a color. I stitched the yellow a couple times before I settled on a color. So I am glad that this one is all finished. I do really love it. It just, I had to go in timeout a couple times. So I've just made that into a little pillow, and the fabrics I used on these little pillows match a pillow that I quilted and made a little fall pillow, which I'll share those too here towards the end, where I shall share some quilting things that I did. And then this is a free chart. I'm pretty sure. It's called Thank You. Of course, I have links to everything I can have links to below. And this is on a 40 count linen in the color of linen. This one was a little bit of a struggle to work on, but I powered through. This one was really the one that I worked on right when we had no power after Hurricane Helene. We did a lot of sitting outside on the front porch, which had great light during the day for stitching. So this was kind of my calming stitch, something to do because I couldn't do anything. So I worked on this and finished it up, and I picked all my own colors. It is not the called for colors in the chart. I picked colors to match my fabrics. This is a little freebie chart that came in the Primrose Cottage newsletter. I finished this one up. I did pick my own colors for this one as well. I just need to finish this one up into a little pillow. I do have a fabric pulled. It's actually this same fabric is going to go on this to make it into a little pillow. And this is on a 40 count, so it's a little nice and tiny. I think Affogato is the color. I'll put that information on the screen. And then I also have, we'll go back to this one, which is Gather Pumpkins. This is on the same piece of Lugana as the Gather Wildflowers. And I finished all 3 of those. I really enjoyed, I guess, or enjoyed the challenge of stitching these letters. Kathy does have them charted over 2, but I wanted to challenge myself to do the over 1 version. So Gather and Pumpkins is 1/1, and Gather Wildflowers is the same way. So I need to get on to the other ones, which is Gather Butterflies and Gather Pine Cones. I haven't done any on either of those. This is Simply Autumn, by The Drawn Thread. This is the only one I've done. I'm going to do all 4 seasons on this piece of fabric. So I need to get started on winter soon. That's my goal for winter. I worked on this during Helene power outage time as well. What really intrigued me about this and why I picked it up and purchased it were the satin stitch leaves. Now this is on 32 count Prairie Land by Atomic Ranch. It actually calls for only one strand over 2 on 32 with the exception of the leaves. But I love how this turned out and I can't wait to start on winter and get them all stitched. And then the last one I have to share is not completed. This is from the Between Friends fall sampling, which there's a lot of projects in here I want to stitch. I want to do this. I want to do the pumpkins. But this one is a scissor fob. So you fold the back ends in, which is why it's like this. So this would be the front and then they all kind of fold in almost like an envelope. So I need to finish this guy up soon, but I'm keeping it on this big piece. This is also Prairie Land because I really loved that fabric. So I bought me another big giant piece of it. And I think that that will look great for the sampler as well. I just think that this is a really pretty fabric. So those are, so these are all the fall things that I completed. I still need to do some fully finishing, as you can see. All right, on to Halloween finishes. So this is If Pumpkins Could Fly by Hands On Design. I stitched this on a 40 count flannel flower by Fox and Rabbit, which I picked up at my local store, which is Sassy Jack's. I think for this one I picked all my own Coloring Cotton colors, I think. And then I changed out the word boo. I made it purple, which that is not what was called for in the chart, but I just think it's so cute. I love how tiny it is on the 40. Made it into this little pillow with that little bat charm, tied some twine around it, and then I also stitched this one on that same fabric, so it's also on 40 count flannel flower. So I love how it's super cute and tiny. This is a Cherry Chick Biz pin I stuck in the top there, and this is my first time trying out some chenille trim. I actually glued this on because I kind of struggled with sewing on. I think it works okay. It's a little crusty in some places, but you know what? It's fine. It's just for me. I did pick my own colors for this one as well, which is Coloring Cotton, which I know I talked about in a previous video too. I also have this one, which is the Halloween quilt from 13 Spooky Smalls. It just needs to be stuffed. It's pretty close to being done. This is stitched on Grandpa's sleeve. I am unsure of the count. I'll put that on the screen. And it kind of goes with this one, which is also from 13 Spooky Smalls. Also on Grandpa's sleeve. And I need to finish this one into like a little tiny pillow as well. Yeah, I think there's one more in this book I want to stitch. And then it might become a giveaway. We'll see. But I think this fabric is really fun, especially for like a spooky stitch like this. Let's see what else I have finished for Halloween. This is Cast a Spell, which is the Plaid All Year series from Hands On Design. This is on 28 count Dusk Lugana, which you're going to see some other projects stitched on that. I really like this fabric. It is 28, which I tend to go more towards the smaller counts now, but on this dark fabric, it's much easier to see the higher count, or the bigger count, I should say. So I need to finish this one up to go on my On the Edge display. In the same vein as the Mad for Plaid and Plaid All Year. I have finished spring, but I have not finished summer, winter, or autumn. I have started autumn, but I've not finished any. And I have them stitched on chalkboard Aida. This is the first one I did on the Lugana. So I may revisit and see if that's what I want to do, if I want them all to match. You never see them all at the same time, so I could do whatever I wanted. But I do need to put that in my, really should get this series finished in 2025. I also stitched the little bag. You saw a bag I got in haul. I got that one because of this one. I picked this up when we went to Cecilia Samplers in Branson, Missouri when I was on my girls' trip to the lake. And this was really fun to stitch. It came as a whole kit, just like the one I showed you earlier. It has the bag. It has the floss. It has the buttons. There's some buttons. Little spiders are buttons. So it has everything to stitch this little project. The bag's already like made for you and sewn together. You just kind of stitch it in hand, which I wasn't sure if that would be a pain, but it was actually pretty easy to do. So that is the Spooky Stitches bag. I have some other pieces I need to finish. I know I talked about this in my last floss tube with my sister. I had finished both of the other ones in this. This is the, let me look at my list. Signs of the Seasons, Fright This Way. I finished Trick or Treat, and I finished, I forget what the other one says. Anyway, I had almost finished this. I just needed to fill in the green. So technically this one was finished in 2024. It's on chalkboard Aida. Like I said, I had started this a long time ago, which is why it's on Aida. And now I need to figure out how I want to fully finish all three of them. I also finished a classic haunt by Hands On Design. This is on, I want to say, orchid linen. I had started it on a Lugana. I did not like it. This is where I'm starting to switch to the linen because I just like the linen better. So all I had done was his head. So I restarted. And I finished him up during Helene as well, when I was sitting around with nothing else to do with my time, because there was no internet or TV or anything. So that one change I made in the sky is the stars are supposed to be white, and I made them the pale yellow that the moon is. But I do plan on finishing this on a piece from Chantelle's 141. I could do the basic round like the Botanical Bee and Liberty Pennies, but the small snow globe fits this too, and that's what I want to do. And I know Nicole has finished hers that way, and I really love it, and that has been my plan since the beginning, is to finish it on the small snow globe and do some, you know, embellishing with some Tim Holtz ideology pieces, much like Nicole did. So that is all my Halloween finishes. I did start quite a few other ones this year, but these are the only ones that got completely done. I had one more. I thought I was done. I looked at my list. I was like, oh no, where did Spirits and Spells go? It had fallen on the floor. So this is Spirits and Spells by With Thy Needle and Thread. This is stitched on 40 count Eastwick from Fox and Rabbit. I really love this piece of fabric. I got a pretty big piece to stitch on. Now that I'm feeling more comfortable on the 40, I'm glad I got some bigger pieces. I did pick all my own coloring cotton colors for this, which I know I've spoken about in a previous floss tube as well. And I need to figure out how I want to finish it. I know I talked about this before. It's on a box in the sample photo on the front. After doing the round that's not an ornament, I'm thinking I might do an oval for this one and tuck it into my dough bowl as well. So we'll see. But that's one more Halloween finish that had fallen to the floor, sadly, but I do love her. I think she turned out really cute. Okay, finally, let's talk Christmas. So this is the Hygge holiday pattern. This was an exclusive stitch along with Nicole Spohr and Kathy from Hands On Design. So this chart is no longer available at this time. I'm sure she will make it available in the future. But what I liked about this is she had this really big piece that was based on a piece of art she had, but she also charted ornaments, and that is what I did. And she also charted everything in 4 different colorways, and I kind of went with the more, I think it's called the classic, which has like the reds and the greens in it, which is this colorway. I've only stitched 2. I stitched the tree and I also did the mittens, and I changed the mittens up a little bit. You can see they're in a hoop. I added some, she has the little stems down here. I wanted it kind of round, so I took those out and added some more Smyrna crosses around it and added the star here at the bottom. And I did pick my own color and cotton colors that kind of matched her color palette for the, I do believe it's called the Classic Christmas. So I think I want to finish this one in the hoop, which is why it's still in it. This is a little 3-inch hoop. I can't decide. Maybe I should paint the hoop or maybe not. I don't know, but that's why it's still here. And then I might do the same for this one, or I might not. I haven't really decided. I do think that I might want to add some more little Smyrna crosses up here to fill it in. As you can see, even with her shape, this is sort of empty. And I just think a few of those might be kind of nice up in there. So these are the 2 ornaments I've done from Hygge Holiday, and I need to fully finish those. I also have the Christmas word tree from Primrose Cottage, and as I spoke about in my last floss tube, I am not going to stitch the word believe. I'm going to leave it as just joy, love, and peace. And the colors I picked for this come from Shiny Objects and Belle of the Ball, which we're going to talk about here in just a minute. So I'm going to set this one aside and we'll go back to that. I'm trying to show you things unfinished and then show you finished things, or vice versa. Also unfinished is #joy. This is a Jingle Ball exclusive class. Obviously, I haven't finished it. I have watched the finishing class. I might do mine a little bit different. Kathy finished hers on a pillow that was made out of felt. I did like learning the applique, but I think I might do mine with like a cotton pattern fabric. So I really like this linen. I wish I had stitched my Gather Wildflowers and Gather Pumpkins on this linen, but I started those on Lugana because at the time I thought, oh, Lugana is what I want, what I really like. Turns out I think I like linen better. Anyway, so I have a really big piece of this. This is what's in the Christmas folk right now. I did change the colors of this frame to be more greeny blues, like greeny aqua colors. It was blue, and that just wasn't doing it for me. So that's #joy. And on the same piece, I have, what is this one called? Home for the Holidays. This one is ornament from Chantelle's exclusive ornament mystery box. So there were 5 ornaments and 5 charts that matched. Now I did change mine a little bit. So here is the chart. So you can see that the checkerboard is filled in with a gray. I really liked it with the linen colors, so I didn't fill that in. But I do need to finish it because, like I said, it was a kit, so it came with the finishing piece. Looks like she has some pattern paper on it. I'm sure I have plenty of pattern paper in my house that I can find one that goes with this perfectly. So these 2 need to be finished. So #joy and a Home for the Holidays. Neither one of these can be purchased right now because they were exclusive. And then I have Belle of the Ball, which I finally finished an ornament. I made my own cording. I used DMC color that matched the green, and then I found a shade darker or shade lighter. I don't remember. It's 2 shades of green. They are DMC. This one is stitched on that same 28 count dusk Lugana. Now I changed, there was a darker green, I changed it to a teal, which I know I've talked about this before. And then I finished my Shiny Objects, which I know I showed last time, but now they're fully finished. Same thing, it's the same color palette, but I took the dark green and changed it to I think it's called Wintertide. I talked about that in my last floss tube. And I also talked about my plans. I have some more charts that I want to take the same color scheme and color convert them so that everything is very matchy-matchy. So that's where the colors in this one come from. It's, you know, the red, that creamy color, and the green. And the brown, which is what the yellow bells are. So the other ones I want to do are also tree-shaped, and I want to convert them to these colors. But I know I talked about that last time, so I will not talk about that again. You can go back and see what I said about that. But these are all my Christmas finishes for this year, which does not feel like a lot, but maybe it is. These I started in July, so really they should be finished, and they're not, but it's okay. It is what it is. Sometimes I just like to stitch things, and then I get a wild hair and get to finishing. These were fun to finish, though. This is the first time I kind of sewed my edges together, and I felt like I did such a good job. I didn't want to bulk it up with the cording. This one, the cording helped. I did a good job sewing, but I also felt like it needed to be covered up a little bit. But yeah, I really love these. I like the little greenery. This is from Hobby Lobby. It's in the ribbon section, actually. And I made cording for the tops out of some reds that matched. Again, picking 2 shades of the red. So I had the shade that matches and then 1 shade lighter. So yeah, those are all my Christmas finishes. Hello, it's future Chari popping in because I filmed the few sewing and quilting projects I had and my footage had no sound. So I'm popping this in. I did make a couple fall quilt block pillow covers this year. So I made this one first. I kind of adjusted the pattern to be a smaller. It was supposed to be a 24-inch pillow, which is a little big. So I made this one, and then I decided I wanted a small one to go with it. So I went to my Lori Holt book and made the little 6-inch pumpkin square and then did the borders around it to match. So they're in the same fabric, and this fabric matches those little pillows I was showing you earlier. I used like my scraps to make those pillows. The other kind of sewing project I did, it's really small, were these fun candy canes. Nicole shared these in one of her floss tubes. She made them out of a stripe fabric for candy cane stripes. But then she had some scraps left over that were patchwork and made them, and I really liked the way they looked. And I remembered I had this kind of large gingham that already sort of looks like patchwork in my stash, and so I cut out a few. They were really easy to make. I have bought some more fabric to make some more in the coming year because they were really easy to do. There was a star in the pattern too. I want to make some stars as well. I think those will be fun. And I just tucked these in my dough bowl for Christmas, but I think making some more for gifts would be fun too. And then the last really big quilting project that I did this year, or finished this year, was the Yankee Doodle Dandy quilt. And it's a large flag. I'm going to put the picture in here so you can see it. It's, you know, red, white, and blue, mostly just squares. There were some little triangles for the star part of the pattern, but I'm very happy with how it turned out for my first big quilting project. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I entered it into the Mountain State Fair. I did not win any ribbons, but I like seeing it hanging up there. There were some really beautiful quilts. So, you know, it's something to aspire to make some really beautiful quilts, but I'm super happy with it. It is on the back of our chair in our living room right now, and it adds some nice pop of color in there, which is fun. But I finished another quilt top, but it's not completely finished, so I'll wait till it's completely finished to share it. It is also patriotic. And I do have some other quilts that I would like to make in the coming year. I have one already cut. I just need to start working on it. It's kind of more, I would say, autumn, fallish. But yeah, it was really fun to do that, so I'm looking forward to doing some more projects. The pillows were fun as smaller quilting projects, and I would like to make some more covers for those pillows for more seasons. So I have a couple giveaways today. The first giveaway is Little House Needleworks Snowy Petites with some mushroom Lugana and some ice blue Lugana, and that's because this chart is stitched on both colors. So if you want to be considered for this giveaway, please be 18, please live in the United States, and use the word snowy somewhere in your comment before January 31st, and I will pick a winner. The other giveaway I have today is to celebrate a year of FLOSSTUBE. This is my Project Sweetwater box, the most recent one. This one features the Shine collection. I'm going to pass this along to someone who wants it because I don't think that I will be stitching these projects. In this box, there is a dessert roll, a charm pack, some of the woven labels, and a pattern book for the quilt, the little petites, the gift tags, and the pillow. So it will tell you how you can use the fabric included and then what extra fabrics you need to make those projects. So to be considered for that, please use the word shine somewhere in your comment before January 31st, and I will pick a winner. So I hope you've enjoyed the 2024 year in review for Chari's stitches. Doing FLOSSTUBE for a year actually made it very easy to go back and see what I had finished because I had it in all my YouTube descriptions. I did start out the year with the intent of keeping track of things, and I made it to mid-April. So, needless to say, tracking is not my forte. Every time I try to do a planner and start out the year with a planner, I usually fall off the wagon, but at least I tried. One thing I did do, however, on New Year's Day, which I'm really glad I did this, was I pulled out almost every chart and I made myself a list, a spreadsheet of every chart that I wanted to stitch, the designer, the category it's in, like Valentine's or Patriotic, summer, spring, whatever, the fabric, the floss, notes to myself on what I want to change, and it was a lot. I won't lie. My room was a mess. At one point, I was very overwhelmed that I had filled up 2 whole sheets of paper on a legal pad, 2 columns worth of writing stuff down. But in the end, I am glad I did it because now I have one place that I can look at everything and I can prioritize and kind of move stuff around and be like, yeah, I really want to get that done. It used to just live in my brain, and that's where things get forgotten. In my head, I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that. I wanted to do that. That's just not the way to get it done. So I did that, and I'm glad I did, even though it was overwhelming at the time. And the other thing I want to try to do is when I finish something, take it out of the project bag to a place to be fully finished and put something new in that project bag. So you saw I finished the little Let It Snow. I immediately took that out and put another Let It Snow project, actually, was the With Thy Needle and Thread Let It Snow in the same project bag. So like the Snowman Kisses I just finished, I'm going to take that out and put something new in so that I have some ready to go. I also have a box of kind of already kitted up ones that I can pull from. So I'm hoping that will help me get a little more organized in 2025. I do want to finish some of the series that I had started, like Little Sheep Virtues, Winter Folk, the folk series. I'm well on my way to get that one done. I need to finish the Gather Butterflies and Gather Pine Cones and get that done. Getting series done like that really feels good. I know that I don't have to stitch everyone in the series, but that's just how I am. I just want to. So those are my plans for 2025, and I don't really have like these are the things I'm gonna get done. Just I want to set priorities versus gotta get this done in this month and gotta get this done in this month. I am very much a seasonal stitcher, so if I'm stitching Valentine's past February 14th, I'm personally okay with that. I'll have it for next year. So that is my plan. Thank you so much for watching today and giving me some of your time, a little more than normal. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Happy stitching. Bye. I wish my wildflowers and my pumpkins. What in the world?